Okay, but before I start this first video, I'm going to make this point blank. Your assignment is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that means 8 of those problems need to be done. If I see any that were skipped because you just didn't feel like doing them, you will be getting a 0, and some of you have already done that, and that's why you have 0s in the grade book. So we kind of need to put the shovel down. I'm not going up to you and physically forcing you to do it. That's going to be a choice you make, but you will receive a 0 if you skip any of the problems. Okay, if you don't know how to do them, either come back and ask me or you can ask somebody around you. Okay, but when I assign the problems, I expect those assigned will be done. Okay. And for those of you who don't really heed that, I guess we'll have slots open for you next year in Extended Algebra 1. Okay. Okay, so anyway, on that positive note, let's go ahead and go through this. And I'm going to have this little checklist here. And we need to solve the inequalities. So first thing, with greater than or less than, we need to make our number line. I put 0 in the middle. Okay. All right. So can't have any parentheses. We don't have any on this problem. You can only have 1x, and we do have 1x. Put a 1 in front of it. Okay. And now with that done, we want to dot and circle the only x that we have. So I dot my 1x and circle it. So 1.x. Okay. Now, decide if the sign needs to be switched. It's very easy. Is your dot number negative? If it is, you switch it. Is the dot positive? If it's not, you don't. If it's positive, you don't switch it. Okay, so that dot number 1, that's positive, so we need to keep it the same. We will not be switching it. Okay, now add or subtract outside the circle. We got a plus 3 there, so we need a minus 3. And then minus 3. So I've got 1.x. I've got my sign, and then 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Okay, now divide by 1. Okay, and when I divide, I come over here. I've got x, and negative 1 divided by 1 is negative 1. Okay, so my critical number is negative 1. Circle, but it doesn't have the line, so you don't fill in, and then it goes the same direction as a nose, meaning it's a less than sign. Okay, my next problem, 5 plus x is less than or equal to 2, so draw the number line. You can't have any parentheses. We don't have any. Okay, you can only have one single x. There it is. I would want to put a 1 in front of it so I know what it has in front of it. And then I dot and circle the only x that I have. So 1x is 1.x and circle it. Okay, that's 1.x. Okay, now decide if the sign needs to be switched. Again, is a dot number negative? If it is, we switch it. If it's positive, we don't switch it. Well, that 1's positive, so we don't switch it. Okay, now add or subtract outside the circle. Well, I got a 5 here. If it doesn't have a sign, it's a plus 5, so I'm going to minus 5. So minus 5. Then I minus 5 under the 2. So I've got 1.x. I've got the sign, and then 2 minus 5 is negative 3. Okay, now divide. You can divide by 1. Okay, so I've got x. Negative 3 divided by 1 is negative 3. Okay, so the one number I'm going to graph is negative 3. Circle. We do have the line underneath, so we need to fill in the circle. And I go the direction of the nose. So x can be negative 3 or anything less than negative 3. It cannot be anything greater than. Okay, my next problem. Negative 6x is greater than or equal to negative 18. So draw your number line. And can't have any parentheses, which we don't have any. And we can only have one x, which we do. It has a 6 in front of it, so I dot it and circle it. Okay, now decide if the sign needs to be switched. Is the dot number negative? If yes, you switch. If it's positive, you don't switch. It's a negative, so that sign needs to go the other way. Okay, add or subtract outside the circle. Well, there's nothing outside the circle. This don't count. It's on the other side of the sign. Okay, so I do not need to add or subtract. I do need to divide both sides by the -6. Okay, so those cancel, and I can fill out my sentence here. X, and then -18 divided by -6 is +3. Okay, so our critical number is +3. Circle, fill it in, and the nose points to the left, so it will be going to the left. Okay, my next problem. Draw the number line, and we are not going to be using this list because we have a fraction. So let's have two fractions, okay? And then I'm going to write the letters CMAD, C-M-A-D. That stands for cross, multiply, and divide. But before I do that, if the number underneath the X is negative, which it is, that sign will turn around. Okay. Now I just multiply and divide. I would take -3 times 2 and then divide that by 1. -6. Okay. So I have X on this side, -6 on the other side. I just put the X on the same side it was on when I started the problem. Okay, so -6 is the critical number. Circle. Fill it in, the line's there, and then it goes this way. Okay, next one, I will be drawing my number line. You can't have any parentheses. We don't have any. That's good. You can only have one X, which we do. Dot and circle your only X, so I dot it and circle it. And now we decide if the sign's going to need to be switched when I go to graph it, okay? If the dot number's a negative, we switch it. If the dot number's a positive, we don't. That's a negative, switch it. Okay, add or subtract outside the circle. So I have a -5. I'll switch that to +5. Okay, so I've got -6 dot X. I've got the sign, and 13 plus 5 is 18. Okay, now it is time to divide by the -6. Okay, now I fill out my sentence here. X, 18 divided by -6 is -3. Okay, so -3 is our critical number. Don't fill it in because it's not a line, but its nose points this way, so it will go this way. It's anything greater than -3. Okay, next one. I'm going to switch the way I'm explaining this. Okay, draw your number line. Can't have any parentheses. We don't. You can only have one X. Well, we have two of them. That is not going to work, so we need to go through with this. If they're on the same side, I'm going to draw what's called a pyramid and add. If they're on opposite sides, we switch the right to its opposite. Well, they're on the same side. Now, here's what this pyramid means. You simply draw a little thing like that, connecting them, and write the word add. It's very easy, okay? So I take 6 plus -3, 3x. That's on this side, so I write 3x. Then I cross out those x's because they're done. I have a -4. I have the sign, and I have 14. Again, if you're wondering how that became 3x, I took 6 plus -3, 3x. Okay, now I proceed. Dot and circle your only x, now that there's only one of them. Okay. That is positive, so the sign will not switch. It's the same thing. Okay. All right, now outside that circle, I got -4, so I +4, +4. So 3 dot x and 18. Okay, now it's time to divide. And I have x, and I take 18 divided by 3. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Okay. Okay, so the critical number is 6. You circle it, lines under it, so there we go. And then nose goes that way. Okay, next one. 5x minus 12 is less than or equal to 3x minus 4. Okay, you can't have any parentheses. We don't have any. You can only have one x. Okay, I got two of them, but this time they're not on the same side. They're on the opposite sides. Okay, so I switch the one on the right to its opposite. So I minus 3x minus 3x. So 5x minus 3x is 2x minus 12, the sign, and negative 4. Okay, now dot and circle the only x that you have. It's a positive, so the sign will stay the same. Okay, so I have a minus 12, so I plus 12 plus 12. So I've got 2 dot x, I've got the sign, and negative 4 plus 12 is 8. Okay, now it's time to divide. And I have my x, and then 8 divided by 2 is 4. Okay, and that is in the correct order, so 4 is our critical number. And then the line goes that way. Okay, next one, draw the number line. Can't have any parentheses, we don't. You can only have one single x, and we just have the 3x. Let's dot and circle the only x. Okay, now that's positive. So the signs, there's two of them now. They're both the same. Okay, they stay the same. Now my job is to get just x in the middle and then find the numbers that go on the outside. Okay, add or subtract outside the circle. So outside the circle we got a plus 9. So I minus 9. And then I would minus 9 from the negative 6 and minus 9 from the 21. So negative 6 minus 9 is negative 15. Okay. Then I have the sign. I've got 3 dot x. Then another sign. And 21 minus 9 is 12. Okay, now it is time to divide. So I divide by 3. And then I divide both of these by 3. And now I go fill out the sentence. Negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5. Then I've got the sign. And then I have x. And then 12 divided by 3 is 4. Okay, so the two numbers I graph are negative 5 and positive 4. Okay, we do not have lines on either side, so we leave them both unshaded, uncolored in, and then just connect them. All right, it's pretty much what you need to know. I'm going to do number 2 with you, okay, because that one can be hard. Okay, no parentheses. You can only have one x. There it is. Put a 1 in front of it so it's got a number. Dot and circle the only x that I have. It's positive, so we're going to keep that sign the same way for now. Okay. Add or subtract outside. Now, the 4's on the other side. Don't worry about that. You got a minus 3 outside, so you would plus 3. Okay, so I have 7. I have the sign, and then I've got 1 dot x. Okay. Now you can divide by your 1. Now, 7 divided by 1 is 7, and then I've got the sign, and then these cancel, and I've got x. Now, before you graph, the order needs to be correct, and that isn't incorrect, because the x should always come before the numbers. So x and 7, and then turn that sign around. And this is what we're graphing. Circle the bars there, fill it in, and the nose goes that way, so it's less than. Okay, get the other ones done, please. You will get a 0 if you skip some.